I grew, she grew, or didn't grow, or whatever, and transition happened. And so she was the one for that time, that period of time, exactly what I needed at that moment in life. And after that, I had to find that.
Okay. Can you speak to why is it critical that we understand?
Oh, sorry. Go live, back up in.
Yeah, you need an old sexy.
We're here.
Voice going.
Yeah, gentlemen, you all do know that we are.
We do, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Oh, so everybody heard that G-Rose shout out?
Yeah,
Right,
we
really?
heard that. We heard that.
My apologies. I was a little excited to see my own logo. I don't know why.
Is that
I get it all the time, but it
See
happens.
you guys. It's been a while.
Yeah, it really has. It's been a long time.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. And
yeah, Leonard, welcome.
My second time seeing Leonard ever in life. So
yeah, welcome to the cave, Leonard. You gonna be okay tonight? We promise not to scar you up too bad.
You think I should bring some more of those women from?
No, I think you'll be just fine.
Yeah, no women allowed in the cave. That's the rule. Also, I've gotten 2 requests.
They just can't be in the cave.
They can't be in the cave. I've gotten 2 requests from women that want to come on the show. And I'm like, it's called MANCAVE for a reason. We got a whole show called Making Love Better Together that you can be on and have fun.
Picture? We don't discriminate.
Usually if a woman wants to come into an atmosphere like this, she's trying to challenge something, to challenge somebody. She might want to fight a little bit or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I know, which is one of the reasons why we don't want them on. So I agree. And for all women that are watching tonight, if you dated any one of us, we have your names. We've given your names to the producers. So any questions you ask are going to be blocked. We're just letting you know. Especially if the question starts with "Why didn't he?" We're blocked. Not getting in. Just letting you know now.
Right.
Who's giving the toast?
Short dating history, so I probably wouldn't be included in that.
Yeah, my good Christian upbringing prevented me from doing a lot of dating. Yeah. We're gonna leave it at.
Hey man, I guess we can get going since we're live. Definitely want to thank NDTV and G-Rose Productions, along with 220 Communications for letting this all happen. I do think NDTV is free all for the rest of the month. Is it, Glenn? Viewing on
yes, it is.
Is free for the rest of the month. So we certainly encourage everybody to go check out NDTV and enjoy all the good programming over there. I don't know if Leonard has, but I know we've all been featured on different shows over at NDTV. So great stuff happening over there. So we certainly want to encourage you to go over there before the gratuitous viewing is up.
Yeah, I think this show is free in perpetuity. So I think this show is always free.
Yeah, it ought to be because it's great. Because it's great conversation. So
exactly.
Certainly want to move around and introduce everybody a little bit. Glenn, since Leonard is a newer face for me, I'll introduce Leonard as a new face for us. Why don't you guys run through your own credits really quick, so that everybody knows who you are and what you've done. Mel is laughing.
Go ahead, Mel.
I'm not loud. No,
Mel has done so much he gets winded at this point. It's like
no, he has the. That's why I was letting him go first. He has the longest intro.
Right. Well, I don't know. Leonard's what I was given on Leonard is pretty hefty, but you need oxygen to read Mel. So go ahead, Mel.
Oh God, my name is Mel. I'm amazing. That's it. Let's move on.
Creator of
really, I almost choked.
I'm an actor. I'm a 5-time Amazon bestselling author. I run a few different companies, one of which is a professional development company that does trainings for a bunch of different corporations. And And I love life. I love living. Out of everything that I've ever done in my life, nothing has been rewarding as raising my two amazing, wonderful, bratty, horrible, get on my nerves, but I love them, daughters that I have. Now, my kids are amazing. And so, yeah, entrepreneur, businessman, actor, and father.
Cool. And I got to say, when you're sitting at home with a cocktail, enjoying some live TV, and you see somebody that you know run across the screen, like I've experienced watching some Chicago-based programming and seeing Mel run through, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that's my man.
Right.
So that's a pretty cool experience. So, Glenn, why don't you let everybody watching know a little bit about you?
Yeah, Glenn Murray. I am co-owner of D Rose Productions, along with the fabulous and wonderful Keisha Rose, who's also a co-producer on the show, along with Roger Jackson. Just keep it short. Just happy to be here. I'm glad this is our third episode, and I'm really excited about it. I've got one of my longtime friends that I got to invite on here, so
Thank you,
ready to
Glenn.
go.
Thank you.
I was
The other guy.
You're all right too, Mel. You're all right too. Oh, Sean, one thing I have to do. Because I think it's so important to keep your relationships with your ex strong, with your exes. So I want to send a wish out to my ex-wife, Janet Jackson, and wishing her a happy birthday today. Because I believe keep those relationships strong. But Janet, even though you didn't get the ultimate prize, I still wish you well in life. Okay, carry on. I'm done. That's it for tonight. I'm done. I'm dropping the mic now. I started early. I started really early.
You are such a noble dude, man. You're such.
I know. My heart is big. I have a huge heart, dude. Just don't let anybody tell you different.
I know that we're going to be joined by Damon Williams in a bit. For those who don't know Damon's a big name in comedy in Chicago, been moving around for quite a bit. So most of us are familiar with him on some level. Leonard Mogul, am I pronouncing that correctly? Mogul?
Yes.
All right, that's kind of a name that sets you up for destiny, huh?
A little bit.
A little bit. And so the information I'm giving on Leonard is that he's a market development director and community advocate for the Willis Tower. Is that correct?
Well, community continent media group.
Okay, awesome. And some of the highlights that I was given were you were the face of the news December 12th. Is that a publication maybe?
No, there were Face of News was a event for media, various active media in Chicago, and it was based on legendary and late photographer Steve Starr.
Oh wow!
And
I'm a photographer, so that's
really
certainly
well-known personality around town.
Yeah.
So many distinguished and active media members were included in this exhibit and the event, and which he was producing, and then he ended up passing away suddenly, and basically within a month or so before the event was produced, and then I and many other community leaders took over the event, and was one of the co-chairs, and was at the Murphy Auditorium. Great event, and definitely.
We'll do it like this, Leonard. All this stuff on my phone is stuff he's done. Yeah, he's done a lot of stuff. I got a long list of stuff. But we're glad to have you, man.
I'm also founder of Arts for Kids Foundation.
Okay.
And in short, it's an organization that introduces arts to children and makes it available regardless of their socioeconomic level. And we've taken many children from inner city and in the community, and also disadvantaged, but also physically challenged children as well. So to various shows, from Alvin Ailey to Cirque du Soleil to Joffrey Ballet, and many others, and have done that at no cost.
Awesome.
So it's
Awesome.
something that's near and dear to me, and always enjoy seeing children introduced and experiencing arts for the first time in their life. So,
Awesome.
so
Awesome.
that's
Well, man, we're glad to have you, man, and we look forward to you participating in the conversation. And I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm typically your host and moderator. My name is Sean Mason. I am a local singer in Chicago as well as a photographer. You can see my my photography work at evanmarcusimagery.com. You can catch some of my recent music stuff on YouTube if you're not connected to me on social media on YouTube at just type in Mason Cover, and pretty much the stuff I've done lately will come up. I'm also a blogger. You can check me out at thelensofmylife.com. So, you know, all of us are guys that are doing a bunch of different things, which is really, really cool. I'm always excited about us being willing to explore our gifts. I was having a conversation with my family earlier today about how it's one thing that to have gifts, but a lot of people live and die and never find their way to their gifts. And so I think that for the most part, we are fortunate enough to be working in the realm of our gifts and sharing them with the world. So that's really cool. So other than that, everybody's okay.
Wonderful, man. Let's dive in, bro.
Yeah, I was looking at some current event stuff earlier today, and I was in Indiana doing a photo shoot for my nephew's graduation. And Indiana is very different than Illinois. And so, in a whole lot of ways, but specifically, Indiana isn't really a state that seems to be taking the current pandemic very seriously. So what do you guys, I mean, I saw, man, we were out there we got there about 11. We headed back to Chicago about 3. And I bet I saw 2 masks the whole time there. And one was somebody that was working, and she was behind a register. Actually, there were 2, and they were both working. What do you guys feel about, you know, the other states opening up? How do you think that's going to affect the curve, flattening the curve? And, you know, is it setting us up to fail and go back to where we were 30 days ago? You know, what are you thinking about that? Glenn, let me hear from you first.
And I'll answer really quickly. I think, in short, a lot of people looked at it and saw it on the news, and they saw it as a Los Angeles, Chicago, New York problem, but not our problem in small town USA. And I heard some interviews where they were like, oh, you know, that's what they're doing in New York. They have to do that, you know, but we're not doing it here. And I think there's that. And then there's the convergence of people thinking that somehow staying in is limiting your freedom, like trying to save your life is limiting your freedom. So you got a lot of that. So if you think about it, Illinois is surrounded by states like that. Missouri, Indiana is like that as well. So we're surrounded by some states that are just kind of wide open. Iowa's pretty wide open as well. Think about, you know, I think it may come back on some of them. If you're in a heavily populated, a dense area, a factory working environment, it's going to come back on you eventually. We'll see. I pray that it doesn't, but I just got to feel it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the things that are being put in place are for some long-term goals, and if you aren't on the side of achieving those long-term goals, you may be setting us back. Mel, what do you think about it?
Yeah, so I've lost several people to COVID already, and not conspiracy COVID, not, oh, they're just marking deaths as COVID. No, these people were sick, and it was COVID. So my thoughts about it are a little bit different. And one of my consulting contracts is with the telemedicine company as well. And so we're talking about stuff like this on a regular basis. You know, I mean, people have a right to do anything they want as long as it doesn't infringe on the rights of others. And I really think that people aren't thinking it through, like the students that went on spring break and brought it back to their grandmother. Well, your young system can handle it, but your grandmother's can't. And sometimes it's not until a situation hits home that people get the gravity of it. And so when it starts hitting home, people will get the gravity of it. The only thing that I hate about it is that when these people start getting sick, these people that didn't care enough to try to take the necessary precautions, and they put a burden on our medical system You know, the ones that didn't care are going to be the ones that are taking up the ventilators, and the ones that tried to not get sick, they need them. So there needs to be all right, if you don't care and you want to open up and do all this stuff, sign this addendum where you last on the list if that's what you want to do. That's just my personal.
Yeah. Leonard, do you have any thoughts on it?
I do. First of all, I want to say a shout out to all the frontline employees, healthcare workers, grocery store workers, first responders, and a lot of them have been getting tested positive with the virus. And I do have people who are either working at the clinics that test for the virus or are treating subsequent people infected with it. And unfortunately, our country as a whole, and on one hand, we really cherish our freedoms, and we want to be able to do things that to have freedom to do whatever it is that we want to do, right?
Right.
But the issue is right now, it's no longer about mentality where it's just about you. Your actions affect everyone else. So right now, a mentality of we needs to be taken into consideration.
Sure.
And unfortunately, there are some people who, some states like Indiana, Michigan, Texas, Florida, to name a few, they're putting economy in certain respects ahead. Well, with the exception, I guess, of Michigan. Michigan, actually, their governor, Whitmer, she's been fighting those gun-crazed protesters, and they actually had to shut down the Capitol, and she had to issue a warning where those protesters would be arrested if they continue. And my concern is that it's not about them standing up for their freedom. It's about them intimidating our government into succumbing to their wishes and their capricious wishes to open up businesses. And a lot of countries have taken a lot more drastic measures than we have.
Sure.
China has been patrolling people with drones and monitoring for people not violating the stay-at-home orders.
Yeah.
So, but what I think, in short, where this may lead to is that if people refuse to do what's right and to wear masks when they go shopping or public places, these measures will have to end up being more stricter and will cause.
There needs to be some penalties put in place for the risk that you're putting other people at. And I think that, when it gets to a time that we're taking it that seriously, then it'll be real cool. Let's switch gears and welcome Damon. And Damon,
Get it in.
That's how we go back. What up, bro?
Man, what up, bro?
how you doing, man? Hey, listen,
I'm good.
You weren't here to introduce yourself. I tried to, in my own humble way, try to, tell the good people that are watching who you are and about the noise you've been making for a long time in Chicago and really, the U.S. abroad, but you're a local boy, so you belong to us. But why don't you introduce yourself, man, to everybody that doesn't know you? And it'll be a perfect time for you to answer this last question, and then we can switch gears a bit.
Okay, first of all, what's up to all the brothers inside? Something told me to go put on a sexy shirt. I knew y'all was gonna be dressed.
Yeah, that was Mel, man. Mel went to the sexy part of his closet and got
That's
his
all it matters, the
motorcycle
sexy
glasses and his woman catching shirt, and then came and sat down. You know.
I ain't got no
Everybody,
pants on,
y'all
though.
best out and everything. I see you. But anyway, comedian in Chicago. I do radio. I do a little TV, and I'm just here to participate in the manliness.
Yeah. Hey, man. Well, we don't get a chance to say this a lot, and I'm really proud of the noise that Chicago is making across the entertainment industry as a whole. But you don't often get a chance to let guys like you know, man, that we're very proud of you and very proud of your hard work and what you've done. And we appreciate the fact that you rep Chicago so hard everywhere you go. So, we appreciate that, man.
Man, you gotta love where you're from, and we're from such a magnificent city. Magnificent city. I mean, what y'all have to realize, I'm coming. That's the reason why I'm late, because I do a happy hour every day at 5, and we toast to the book.
We saw you dancing a little while ago. We know what was going on. We saw you dancing.
But anyway, it's a wonderful place, man. This city it's a world-class city, and why wouldn't we be proud of it and try to uplift it and let people know that the negative news that they hear is not the real experience that we have on a daily basis? And not only humor, music, art, the culture, the actors, the films that come out of here, the scenery of Chicago for film and backdrop is just amazing. So I love this city, man, and that's why I've never moved. Even though I travel around everywhere, I always call Chicago home, and I hope to be able to do that and still maintain forever. So whatever we talking about, I'm in it, but thank you for the love.
Yeah, well, you love Chicago, man. Chicago loves you back. Here's a question that we were talking about, the fact that a lot of these, I was in Indiana earlier. One of the things I do with professional photography, and I was doing my nephew's graduation pictures. He's graduating from DePaul University with the W, not with the L, DePaul. Okay. And we were in Indiana, and it's a very different culture in regard to COVID-19. And so we were talking about the fact that other states are opening up and that kind of thing, and what you felt about the impact of these states that aren't operating like Illinois is, and Chicago is getting ready to get us kicked out of Illinois because we won't act right. But the impact of these other states and what they're doing, what do you think that's going to do to the pandemic overall?
Well, I think it's a problem for us in Illinois because Wisconsin and Indiana opened up, and those are border states. And, people sneak over there and get cigarettes and cheap gas, and you're going to come back with the Roma because you ain't got to wear a mask. So, so all of South Holland is in danger. Then, Gary is right there, so it's an issue. And I'm being lighthearted about it. But to be honest, they're giving us, 30 more days or however many more days left in the initial stay in place order for the additional days that they gave us. I think we should try to adhere to it, especially if it doesn't significantly affect your bottom line as far as feeding your family. It's not worth the risk. It's not worth not only putting yourself in jeopardy, but the most vulnerable, our older people and those who already have, ill and pre conditions. So I think it's really bogus. But on the same token, we are free individuals, and it's hard being in the house. A lot of people are like in relationships, and they've been in their house with their spouse, and it's just them. And you've been together for 20 years. You've been together all them years, but you ain't been together all these hours. So some people just need to get outside. Y'all can laugh. It's okay. I know it's the COVID, but like just say if you've been in the house 2 weeks straight, that's 336 hours in a row. You ain't never been with your significant other 336 hours. You used to go to work, right? You go to the gym. You can squat. There ain't no sports, So some people like, to hell with the disease. I'll risk the Rona for some fresh air and some different people. But the other thing is, as bad as the Rona is, man, and it's personally affected my family. I lost an aunt to this terrible crisis, but my mother got sick and my brother got sick, and they both recovered. Comedian J.D., Baldhead Phillips, Marcy Deloney, these are all comedians in Chicago who have survived and come through it. So hopefully it's not a death sentence if you happen to catch the Rona, but you don't want to go through the agony. Because if you see any footage about what people are going through and the lack of it being able to breathe and coming home with oxygen, you don't want to go through it. So let's be smart about it. That's all I can say. Better safe than sorry.
I've talked to some people that have had it and come through it, and what they say about it is nothing nice. But we have to change our perspective about it. And from day one, I refuse to say I was stuck at home. I say I'm safe at home. So
Absolutely.
It's part of the way we condition ourselves to think about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, my wife is listening. I was safe at home too. I was talking about other people's relationships.
Right.
She right there.
He wants to
She
be
is
clear.
she right there. Let's clean that up.
Yeah, we don't want you to get hurt at all.
Head.
Hey,
The man cave is not insulated.
not the virtual one anyway. You know, the virtual one is all kind of people on the sides of you. You know,
Exactly.
all of us here have some degree of entrepreneurship going on in our lives, and we've had to manage that and manage our the way we deal with relationships and the stress that causes. The question that the production team was considering was, when you are building a business, or you're in a business, or you're running a business, how do you balance that work and romance aspect of the relationship so that your relationship can survive? And I think there's some real simple answers to it, but it's always a little bit more gray matter in there than the black and white. So, Mel, why don't you take a look at that?
It ain't no gray matter. You like these lights? You like this food? I gotta work.
That's the gray matter. Yeah,
you want to ride the bus, or you want to ride in this car with heated seats?
Yeah,
I gotta work.
but now, and that's real, you know. And most of us are old enough to have come up in them times, you know, when that's how it was. But that doesn't negate the fact that relationships still need to be fed. We can always speak that and say, you know. But the reality is, if we're going to operate, you know, if we're going to operate on a level higher than our predecessors, if we want to put it that way, we do have to own the fact that that's an aspect of because trust me, with them lights and everything that you turning on, if there's some stuff you ain't getting in response to it, you're going to speak on.
So this is the man cave. So of course I get a man cave answer first.
Yeah.
You ain't had to jump in and be
No.
I feel you, bro. I feel you. So here's my honest answer though. Sometimes it's not the quantity of time, it's the quality of time. Right? So if you're with somebody that respects and understands that you're building a business, or you know what you're doing is for them, and they reap the benefits of that as well, and they're understanding, and you're communicating about it, but you do have quality time in which it's dedicated to them. You know, you're not on your phone all the time. You put it down, y'all are watching TV, doing whatever it is that y'all do, then there could be somewhat of a balance there as to where it's respectable. But it falls on two things. Number one, everything rises and falls on communication. So you have to be a good communicator within your relationship. But also, too, you have to get with somebody who knows who you are and accepts who you are and is willing to deal with who you are, because you might not be for that person, even though they're an amazing woman or whatever. You might not be for that person because they don't have enough understanding in who you are as a person and what it is that you're doing in order to let you get done what you need to get done and still give them their time that they need to.
I agree with that. Glenn, let me hear from you, and then we'll hear from Leonard, and we'll let Damon give his take on it.
Yeah, piggybacking on something Mel said, you know, they need to know who you are, and you need to know who you are as well. So you don't need to go into a relationship, you know, dating them and being there like 7 days a week, and then you get her, and then you bounce like, hey, you know, I'm busy now for the next 30 days. I got to travel for the next 30 days. Sorry, but I love you. And it was wonderful. That first week was wonderful. So you need to really know who you are so you can let them know up front what your life is about, what you've got going on. And to Mel's point, you'd find somebody that can accept that, somebody that can deal with that, somebody that's on that same level of either understanding or at least, or even in your same area, just busy sometimes. That's good. Because I always said I want somebody that can live without me. Too busy to be dealing with, you know, all of my mess.
Right. Leonard, do you have a thought on it?
I do. I think particularly now, based on the situation that we're dealing with, it's harder to date, to even sometimes see your significant other. Although, on the other hand, we do have internet, we have FaceTime, we have various tools that can be used. But I think right now, more than ever, it's important to be able to trust the person you're with, to know that not putting you in jeopardy or your life in jeopardy by doing other things that may jeopardize it. I think also, of course, communication is important, and I do like the answer that both Mal and Len gave as far as knowing who you are, being confident in your own skin. And sometimes people go into relationships thinking, oh, I'm going to be with this person and that person is going to make me better, or things will be better. No, you got to make yourself better. And the relationship or the person you're with is just an addition. It's that cherry on top. You got to be your own person. You got to be confident in your own self.
Absolutely. Damon, I'm really interested in hearing what you have to say, because you, myself, Neil, what we do isn't so corporate. And so I think that there is a bit of a uniqueness that's needed in a mate that can get behind, people that are in the arts, people that are in entertainment, stuff that, that isn't so traditional. If you're really blowing up, then it's probably not that hard, but when you're in that, the question was specifically about when you're building that thing, and, sometimes you have to drive the car and build it at the same time. And so how do you make that relationship work and balance, in those moments?
Well, my relationship, which is almost going into the 13th year with my wife before we got married, you first things first. If you're in an entrepreneurial scenario, especially if you're in entertainment, you got to have a believer. If the person don't believe in you and what you're trying to do, and believe that you're actually going to make it to what you're achieving or trying to achieve, then they're not going to be confident in what else is going on around you, and they're going to be a naysayer, and it's going to be a hindrance to your success. And if you're in this type of business, if you're an individual that's relying on your gift, your arts, your passion, whatever that may be, you got to have all your ducks in a row, and that person that's with you has to see it happening. But you cannot be so narcissistic, because it's a very narcissistic business, especially as you start to succeed. You start, reading your own press and feeling yourself, then you might forget that there's another person that's actually sacrificing their lives to support your dream. So you got to have balance, as he stated. It's quality time. It's realizing that they also have lives that they could actually be pursuing things, but they may have deferred for your benefit. So it's for the greater good, but it's still necessary that you acknowledge their support and their effort. Yeah. But it starts with a person that's believing. When I first started doing comedy, this is over 25 years ago, I was dating a young lady, and I'm on open mic. I ain't even making no money at it, but I was always friendly at the end of the show, because I was shaking hands and greeting people, and I still do that to this day. She was like, you just like people all up on you. You just want people to take pictures with you. Blah, blah, blah. It ain't about that. It's about the people. It wasn't about, my ego or whatever. So, of course, she didn't make it. She out of here. And ta-da, bye. So if you don't have your believer, man, then, it's going to hinder you. That's all I can tell you about that, for real.
Yeah, but, you've been in the game long enough that the term branding wasn't very popular. But in actuality, the minute you walk off that stage and you start dealing with the people that are there and trying to continue to build your fan base, that's what we now refer to as branding, because you're on all the time. You know what I'm saying? You don't get to not be Damon Williams, the funny dude, until you're at home, you're in a private space. Nobody's in a position to have expectations of you, because you have to protect your brand, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So.
And not only branding in that sense of being on and being funny, but being a good guy and being personable, right. It goes a long way, because now people have a voice. They can go on social media and destroy you because you snubbed them because you didn't want to take a picture or take a second to shake a hand, or when it doesn't take much to do that. Now, when we go back out, I'm not shaking hands and I'm not getting close. You're going to have to get you a 6-foot selfie stick.
You got a good reason to not do it. Yeah, you got a good reason to not do it. And I learned that from my time in the music, out here on the music scene. I learned that as well. Like, if I'm going to have a show, it's very rare that I have a show and it's not standing room only. And it's not because I'm some great singer. It's because I'm also a good dude.
Exactly.
And so people want to support me because of who I am to them. Yep. The music ain't bad, so that helps. But a lot of people are there because they're supporting me. I could have been painting bubbles. It really doesn't matter. You know, it's a village that was willing to support me. But you said something very key, and I think for that specific subject matter, when we talk about the person that's standing in the gap for somebody who's trying to build their business, build their career, you have the potential to be like the best thing that ever happened to them or the worst.
Facts.
Because there's nothing like having a man or woman riding shotgun with you while you fight that fight trying to do your thing. Because every night isn't going to be a great night. Every stage performance isn't going to be a great stage performance. Every grant you submit or business proposal you write isn't necessarily going to land. And you need to have a safe place, especially as a man, where you can come back and say, you know, damn, I need to hit the reset button and figure out how to do that. And that person is rubbing your back going, yeah. Let's get up in the morning and do it again.
Like Mel said, you know, you paying these lights, you got these bills, but some weekends you might not have that light bill money or that heat money. Yeah. And if that person don't believe in you in those moments, that's when you test in the middle of your relationship. It ain't when you be blowing up and you popping off and you know, you going shopping at the mall and all that. It's them times when you're like, hey, what we gonna do about these groceries, or can we make a payment arrangement? So that happens too. You gotta have somebody in your corner for those.
Yeah, and I gotta admit, man, and I want to send a shout out to Jamie, whose message I just saw come across the front that says good dudes lives matter. We appreciate that. But I have to say, man, I mentioned this a little bit in a different context on the last show, but that's one of the things that frightens me. The fight itself doesn't frighten me. The fact that, you know, somebody can be looking to me and I not have it frightens me. You know,
yeah, that's the biggest fear for me.
Yeah,
that
man,
has always been the
rather,
biggest
man,
fear.
be by myself, and if I'm up in here with no lights on, then it's just me.
Deal with it. Yep, you know? I can deal with it, but I don't want anybody else to deal with whatever I made the mistake and did it. Right. If the lights are because of me, I don't want anybody else suffering because of it.
Right. Something that just came from the production booth is very, very true. You know, women have us out here proving ourselves. I call it an audition. I don't audition, you know, but a lot of women have you out here auditioning. You know, on the first date they talking about what bills you're gonna pay and, you know, woo. I was never even a dude that bought you a drink to talk to you in the club. That's not. Now if we're talking and I'm enjoying you, then I will buy a drink so that we can.
Sean, I'll buy a drink. Yeah. I'll even buy a drink, Sean.
At your table talking about what's your name. Here's a cocktail for you. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not auditioning, and I think that's what we've gotten away from as adults. We used to meet in the middle, you know. And once we meet in the middle and we determine that there's that mutual interest, then the pursuit starts. You know, a man don't mind chasing a woman as long as he got to chase, as long as he know at some point he gonna catch it.
Well, what we also have to realize in that lane, because, you know, between my situation previously and my marriage now, I had a 2-year window of that single life and that being a, you know, entrepreneur and chasing the game and all that. It's a lot of women out here that have been burned and been damaged by dudes, you know. So
yeah,
you know, you got to make sure you not walk up on somebody that's damaged goods, and you got to evaluate that before you put your trust in the fact that they can even be your soulmate or your side support or you know, your partner in crime. Because, you know, like I said, there's so many lousy cats that have been done so much damage to some of these women. You be a good dude all you want to, but you still got to audition. You got to get past that application process.
You're gonna pay that price. Yeah, you're gonna pay that price. And I just, you know, I'm a guy that got weary of it, bro. I'm like, you know what? I'm tired. Yeah. Maybe next week I feel like doing a soft shoot forward. You know.
Yeah. I mean, but there's some help for PTSD, and you need to kind of fix yourself before you start jumping in another relationship. There's, you know, real help you can get. I agree. There's people messed up. Damn, you're absolutely right. And you run into them. You even have to be single for more than like a month. You'll run into a few of them. That's all. Go out a little bit. You'll see.
Unfortunately, most of the messed up people don't realize they messed up though. So.
They messed up. I know. That's true. That's
they move around blaming everybody else, you know, for the fact that their numbers are low.
Well, I don't know if anybody's single on here, but some lady just said she pay her own bills. All she wants is peace and consistency. So y'all might want to look into who that is.
There's not many women like that.
So what you say?
Sure, that's all she wants. Sure. Oh, I know who that is. Okay, she
Yeah.
might be right. Okay, hey, Sarai, might be right. Okay, never
And,
mind.
and before we switch gears, and because this hour goes really, really fast, this is my take. A lot of us do the speak that we need to do. How much do you think guys hear that from women who really don't mean that? It's just like, I call it fighter syndrome. If you're watching a boxing match and somebody gets knocked down, the referee will have them stand up and they cannot know what state they're in. And I don't mean mental state. I'm talking about Illinois, California. They cannot know what state they're in. And when the referee goes, do you want to continue? They go, yeah, because they have been conditioned and programmed to say yeah, because it's the fire in them, right? But they're really not prepared to say yeah. It's just what they're conditioned to say. And so do you think that you run into a lot of women, and I'm not at all saying that the young lady isn't telling the truth. I'm posing this question to you guys. Do you think that a lot of women say that because they don't want to be on the wrong side of history and saying what they really want and what they're really looking for? Because I've experienced that. I've had a woman tell me she was one thing, and then after 3 or 4 dates, I found out she was everything she said she wasn't.
Well,
You had some bad luck. No wonder you're not buying drinks anymore. I understand that.
I think it's about
It's clear. You need a hug. You might need a hug yourself, my
I
brother.
probably need several hugs, but I'm okay with that, Go
I
ahead,
think
Lynn.
it's about asking the right questions. On dates is not about just buying them drinks. It's about actually asking them questions, things that's important to you.
Well, that's my thing, though. Anybody can give you an answer. We're sitting here on the virtual, and I can tell you I'm 6 feet and can dunk a basketball. It's not true.
No. I mean, I'm saying you're out on the date with them, 1, 2, 3 times, and you're asking them questions. You're getting to know them, and there's some red flags. If a woman is only concerned about what you can give her, and she doesn't have much to offer other than her good looks, that will, in time fade. If she's not offering anything else besides her good looks, I mean, at the end of the day, those, 13, 15, 20-year-old marriages, they have one thing in common, I'm sure. That best friend factor. It's being with a person who will meet you halfway, will compromise with you, will do as much as you're willing to put in, maybe even more at times.
True. But that doesn't change the reality that both men and women walk into that thing oftentimes with their representative on display. And you have to give them a little time before the real person starts to reveal themselves. And I think that's standard, even when it's not disingenuous, because your first time out, you're trying to be your best, you're trying to dot every I, you're trying to cross every T. For some, that feels like and turns out to be somebody being their representative, because then when you start to relax a little bit and everything isn't as sharp and isn't as crisp, they start to think, well, maybe he, maybe she, they're not who they painted themselves out to be. So,
well, just from a financial standpoint, know this: whoever Sarai is and any other woman that I've met over my life, they might pay their own bills, they might keep their lights on, their nails done, their car's nice and all that, but you can believe her ass got some debt. Find out the debt amount on the person, because you mess around and she got a nice ass house, but you don't know it's 7 months behind in the mortgage. As soon as you move in, she hit you with the foreclosure notice. You don't know. So
let me see that Credit Karma app.
Yeah, what that debt
What's your
look like?
score? What's your score look like? And I want the 0 score. I don't want just the 1 Credit Karma. I want you to go to my FICO. Because I need to know what your credit qualifications are. Can you get a loan really quickly? Or are we going to have to go through a bunch of hoops to jump through some secondary mortgage people that's going to charge you 20%? We need to know that. Know that again. My FICO.
We can hang out on the relationship piece, all night and either make some friends or make some enemies. So let's switch gears a little bit, man. We know that some of these sporting events are talking about having events without audiences. I know the UFC, they were kind of the guinea pig, if you will, returning to their industries, and they put on an event. I think the event might have been in Florida. It was a fight night there, and my personal opinion was that I think when you're that in a hurry to push it, it seems like it's a cash cow, and so I kind of lost a little bit of respect for them in that regard. Like, your industry is fighting, so we talking about not only close proximity but blood, body fluids, sweat, all kind of stuff, and you're that eager to get back to making money is the way that it seemed like. And then after they did it, they got a lot of kickback because they failed to follow a lot of the established protocols that they were supposed to follow in terms of distancing, in terms of shaking hands, in terms of gloves. So now they're talking about, the other sports, the other team sports coming back and performing for empty stadiums, basically.
Well, let's look at this. Let's think about the Bulls during the Tim Floyd era. Didn't nobody want to be there anyway. So
that's too easy. That's too easy, Damon. That's too easy.
No, but look, even if you look at sporting, if you look at sporting events today, we as a people should care less about the fact if they let people in, because if you look in the stands at any college game or any pro game, it's not us in the stands because the corporate bodies have priced it out of the average budget for a family and a friend. So I think if the athletes personally decide that they want to take the risk and the chance, that we should support it so we can have our original experience, which is what we've been doing anyway, is watching from home at the crib. Because if you look in the stands, like even a college game, like say you watch March Madness, right? All the athletes are black and all the people in the audience are white, including the student bodies, at these major schools. So I say let our athletes make their money if they have proper protocol and testing. And then, like, we ain't been getting tickets anyway.
Yeah, that's been a big old racket for so long. And then they have the nerve to kind of push back when these guys have some opportunities to make a little bread. But you've been making money off their talents, forever, so, and I think that there is and we kind of, we switch gears a little bit, but I think that there is a happy medium you can find, because a college player isn't a professional player. I get that. But if they can't make money, then you ought not be able to make money on them, because they got
TV rights. The TV rights are still going to be amazing because everybody's in place, and the ratings going to be through the roof when they bring sports back. So it does, like the money doesn't for sports does not even come from the revenue from the stadiums and the stands.
Yeah, the gate doesn't do it. It's the
corporate sponsorship and the TV rights. So they can do that.
And think about UFC. Dana White got millions of dollars from ESPN to broadcast. So somebody at ESPN probably made a phone call and was like, "Well, you haven't produced any events, so we're gonna need you to figure it out, or else we're gonna be looking for a rebate on those millions we gave you up front." So that's really why they're doing it. It's why NASCAR is doing it. I mean, look at NASCAR and look at the cars and look at the uniforms and everything. It looks like a walking billboard. So all those
NASCAR makes sense because the athletes are actually in their cars and
in their cars. Yeah, but the pit crew
stands though.
No, the pit crew though is still close together. So you still have that. But you knew NASCAR was going to go do it. I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah. Well, NASCAR's a Republican sport anyway, so you know who that's predominantly redneck anyway. So they ain't worried about the Rona. They think they can drink a little shine and fix that.
Maybe take some Lysol gummies.
Or disinfectants.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm here for levity. If we have any
Republicans,
because I got a show coming up. They told me on all my Zooms, don't pick a side in none of these issues. But I'm gonna speak my mind. So if there's any Republican redneck MAGA hat wearing, NASCAR snuff spitting, sister dating people out there, I love you too.
Right. But you want to say Republicans wear sneakers too, huh? Hey, we got to learn how to coalesce anyway. We got to learn how to be friends and see things differently. This is probably the biggest test, and the last thing I want to talk about is what some of these graduates are experiencing, and how some of these people are stepping forward, like Obama with the commencement speeches and that kind of thing, you know. But as a matter of fact, why don't we skip that and jump right on into that? I was really moved and impressed by Obama's decision to address the graduates, because those that have worked so hard have lost so much, because of this. And the little ways that we can find to celebrate them, I think is very important. It's very substantial for them. They're going to look back on this, and it's not going to be like it was for us when we came through, that way. If that was our journey, it's going to be very, very different. And so,
graduations take too long anyway. You really just want to see your kids, so just celebrate your own kid at the house like they've been doing. But the other thing is, you can believe it's some high school parents that took a side relief because they had to pay all that prom money.
Man,
yeah, that was actually revenue. They could count that as revenue.
And they were paying for them prom dresses already. They take eight months to make that dress.
Those things are so crazy. They have become so monstrous that as a photographer, I took them off my product menu, because you know how we can be.
Right.
You know what I mean when I say we.
Yeah.
So it's a baby wedding. And it is massive. And then you're competing with people with phones and tablets. And I usually tell the person that I'm working for, you can tell them or I can tell them. If you tell them, it's probably going to be a lot nicer. But if I tell them, I'm going to say, hey, my pictures are being paid for. If I got to elbow you in the face with that tablet so I can get my shot, that's
I mean, not to mention,
you know what? It's probably good. I don't have any children, so I don't have to go through this, because my kids would probably hate me, because I'd be like, wait a minute, I gotta pay how much for your prom? Can you get a sponsor? I get stuff sponsored all the time. You need to go put you a sponsorship package together. And
make sure you don't have a daughter.
I'm so glad you do not have kids, boy.
Especially
I'm so
a daughter.
glad.
I'm just saying.
I'm gonna answer this question because I got a senior. I got
Yeah.
a senior right now. So let me speak on it. It's a tragedy that they worked so hard and were robbed of all of these experiences this senior year. The flip side of it is that these children that have gone through this and they're dealing with this, they will have a level of resiliency that is unprecedented. Especially if you raised your kids right, you know what I mean, and you're helping them through this. And there's nothing wrong with getting your kids some counseling through this if they need it. My daughter's an All-American track athlete. She was #1 in the state for long jump during indoor, #4 in the nation. She already has is going to college to run track and field. And I was asking her, I said, Puda, what is it like for you not having your senior season? Are you okay? She said, Dad, I'm not really worried about me. I'm going to college and possibly the Olympics. But I got teammates that aren't running in college. They're basketball players and other sports that this was their last hurrah. I'm more worried about them than I am myself. So #1, that made me feel great, that we raised an amazing child. But #2, the thinking that these children have now and the things that they've been through, they're like, man, there's nothing we can do about it. It sucks. So, and people have been improvising. Like an hour ago, I had 80 cars on my block honking their horns. I went threw eggs at them because I was trying to do a conference call, but I didn't really throw eggs, but they were celebrating somebody. And it's like, we figure out ways to bounce back from this type of thing. So that's kind of dope. Ultimately, they'll be okay. They'll go down in history. They'll be able to say, listen, I lived through the Rona era, man. Like what y'all talking about ain't nothing. I lived through this. So I think it sucks, but in the grand scheme of things, it's making them stronger.
Yeah, actually, there's two things they've lived through. If you think about it, in 08, 09, there was a financial collapse. So a lot of them saw their parents lose everything in that. Yep. So literally in their lifetime, they've been through 2 near depression era experiences in a span of like 10 or 12 years. Yep. So they're coming into adulthood with that information. So they're going to be in, and I actually looked at studies on this. I actually did a report. I had to do a presentation, and those kids that live through that are actually more financially adept and more frugal, and they look to save more, and they look to do more in terms of investing and putting their money away and compartmentalizing their spend, because they saw that in 08, 09, which we were literally on the brink of collapse. People don't realize how close we were to actually drifting into depression then. And now this. So they've experienced two, once in a lifetime events already, and they're 20 years on this earth. So it's amazing.
These young folks, man, some of them are so hungry and so innovative. And so I enjoy just watching their minds spin as they create in this new world we're in. As I was shooting my nephew, we went to a building. We basically moved around the campus. We got carte blanche to use the university, even though all the buildings were closed. My family was able to make a phone call, and we were able to access the campus and not have any trouble from security. And we ended up moving around the buildings that were just pertinent to his journey at the university. And we ended up on these big stairs, these big wide stairs for this I think it was where his freshman orientation kind of was held. And I ended up pulling back, man, and taking this wide shot of him standing on these massive stairs. And then he goes, "Hey, can I put on my mask?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'm here for you. So let's get it." And man, I took a picture of this dude in his graduation robe in front of this massive building on these massive stairs wearing this mask. And it was just something that he knew. He had the foresight to know that it was going to be a powerful image, Definitely. And even looking at it in the camera, man, I was just like, whoa, that says a whole lot,
Yeah, that's a statement piece, and it's going to document this era. And so but these our youth are, the people that the millennials and the Generation Z or whatever they're calling them now, are very innovative, and they're not falling for some of the traditional things. First of all, not just are they more frugal, they're more in tune with the fact that materialistic things and some of these things, the societal norms that we are used to doing, they're not doing. Like, for instance, cable. The average kid or 18 through 25-year-old, they're not going to have a cable bill because they're going to figure out a way to go online and, and navigate around corporate structure, because that's what they come up to, ideas to do. So we're still in the matrix. They are outside the matrix, and they're creating from a standpoint.
They're creating a whole new matrix.
Yeah.
I think that this whole situation with the virus, in a way, it's an equalizer. It's showing whether you're, struggling, disadvantaged, or you're middle income. This virus, it's going to get you. If it's going to get you, it will. It doesn't matter. It's not going to pick and choose. And I think maybe it's putting things in perspective and showing people, hey, maybe you should consider being more friendly to your fellow man, and another point that I wanted to make is that it was refreshing to see some high school and college students stepping up, whether it's organizing drives to raise funds and delivering food to seniors or senior citizens, or whether to disadvantaged or struggling families, and I've even seen some Trump supporters stepping up and donating money towards refugee kids or families where mom was tested positive for COVID, and she was the breadwinner, and so I've personally seen, and I know the person, who donated funds. There's been some high school students who have been using their 3D printers to create face shields and face masks for the healthcare workers. So some people are shining, and
that's the great thing, though. That's the great thing about what this does. It's the old adage about the tea bag. The real flavor comes out when you put it in hot water. And so
that adage.
Yeah. You like that, brother? You like that? You know.
I think he was thinking about something else, but we won't even.
Where are we going with this?
I had that in my pocket since about 7 o'clock, Damon. I was waiting to throw that. Yeah, there's a historical adage that we use.
Okay.
But you know, this really does give us an opportunity, and we hate the fact that the reality is we know that a whole lot of that stuff doesn't get covered. But at the same time, you know, we know that so many people are using this as a way to show their love for people and bless their people. I was watching one of my great friends, a local singer, Tiabe, tonight do a live performance for her birthday, and people were requesting her Cash App info so that they could contribute, because normally she would be performing and people would be paying. And so you know all about what I'm talking about, Damon. But that goes down all the way from entertainment to barbers, you know what I'm saying? Everybody that makes their money like that. So you got to still be quick enough to support those people, because they're hurting. You know, some of them are able to make do a little bit, but it's not like it was. So, you know, if you can send that person a little bit of something, do it.
Yeah, it's something great going to come from this, and that's the fact that things like this, the Zoom conferences for families, there are family members that probably weren't even speaking, but now that they're all facing these, you know, these crisis times, and you get on a big family Zoom. I know we do a weekly Zoom with our family, and you know, it's mended some fences and it's gotten some people together. We laughing and joking, and so it's not just the financial aspect; it's the human aspect that's going to hopefully we'll remember this. I don't know how long the residual will be after we get back to so-called normal, or if it ever becomes the so-called normal again. But I think it'll really definitely bring us close together as human beings, not only as families, but as communities.
Yep.
Yeah, it proves that it's just time out for that stuff, man. Life is too short. And you know, if you got any broken relationships that can be fixed, you know, this is really a divine message to you to ask yourself, you know, how important is it to be right, or whatever it was that was going on that led to, you know, that falling out. If it's something that can be worked out, you know, you may not get the chance to say, I'm sorry. You may not get the chance to say, I forgive you. And so you want to take advantage of that now. We're getting close to the
I ain't
end.
fixing nothing. They knew they was wrong when they crossed me.
Hey, Glenn,
This was like a replay of last week.
That Mel gets to say that. It's somebody that he's mad at. Every week he says they know what they did when they
Yeah, no, I think Mel's getting paid to say that. There's some company called I ain't apologizing. And Mel's a spokesman, so he gets a commission every time he says that or something. There's a hashtag out there somewhere Mel's making money off of, I believe.
I ain't fixing shit.com.
Look, and on the bottom of it, it says, you know what you did.
You know what you did. Yep. You know what you did.com. Mel Roberson, official spokesperson. We know.
Hey, man.
You're a corporate
just
shill.
Joking.
Right. Hey, man, you guys have been awesome. Of course, you know, we all know the hour goes by much faster than you would think. It may seem longer to the people that are kind enough to be watching us, but for us, it goes by so quick, man. So it's already after 8. And so since we're after 8, I'm not going to belabor the way we round robin and get out of here. I am going to thank you guys for your participation once again, G Rose Productions and NDTV, along with 220 Communications thrown in there. Glenn, you know I'm always going to shout you out. Leonard's participation, brother. We're so glad that you were here. We hope to get to see you again. Damon, you were an addition that we knew would be fun and exciting. And so I'm glad that we've never actually met, but I'm glad to meet you this way. And again, I'm riding with you, man. I'm a Chicago boy that's riding with you wherever you go. You belong. Man, so I'm glad to meet you. Mel, you know how we feel about you and all you've done and your giftedness. So I'm glad that you've taken the time, man, to spend another episode with us. Now, at the end of the last 2 shows, Mel has been reading some of his very good poetry. And so I was all prepared for Mel to send us off again tonight. And then I was asked to sing a song to send us out.
Wait a minute, before you do that, let people know how to find you, because this brother can really sing. I've been knowing him for like 12, 13 years. I found you on MySpace, which makes me really old. Or
Yeah,
you guys started out when I was 8. And that's probably what it was. I was 8 when I went on MySpace and found you. That's it. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. But
dating yourself.
no, I was 8. And that's my story. I'm done with
Got
it.
it. Go ahead. 28. Go ahead.
But anyway, I found him and I was like, dude, I know you don't know me or anything else, but I really want you for a show because you can really, really sing. So the world is about to hear it. And you know, we're going to spread this around. We had almost 10,000 views already for the first 2 shows. So now is his debut to the world. Finally.
Now see, we wasn't setting it all up with that. Now you
got to have a setup. That's my job.
Brought the pressure.
Yes.
I do all right. I always think I can sing better than the average dude you walk up on at Walmart. I ain't worried.
Yeah, you could have just said that boy good.
Right.
Some interesting people.
I thought about that. That was what I was going to end with.
If you don't follow me on social media, I have about 8 or 9 videos up on YouTube. The URL is actually not customized yet. So if you just search for Mason or Mason the Soul Singer or Mason Cover for the recent stuff, you'll see the stuff that I've been doing. There's other stuff floating around. I had recordings out some years back. And one of the things that the pandemic has done for me is giving me some time to work on some vocal challenges I was having. And so it's been fun working those things out. And then just to relieve boredom, I started doing these quarantine concerts and posting them. And then they kind of became a thing. And so I'm up to like volume 8 at this point. And the last song I did was a song by a guy named Alan Stone. And it was a really, really dear song to me because it celebrates the challenges that women have trying to fit into society's depiction of beautiful. And so, here it is that they do all these things so that, people that don't even really know them, that just want to judge them, will say they're beautiful. And this song speaks really, really beautifully to it. And I posted a full cover of it, with composition and everything on my Facebook and Instagram pages on yesterday. Oh, by the way, Instagram is It's the Crooner, ITSTHECROONER. I posted it there, and it'll be on the YouTube channel tonight. So I won't belabor it, but I'm going to sing a little bit of it because Keisha made me. And it goes like this. Oh, beautiful lady, Maybelline baby, hearing from her mirror that her dukes, they are not daisies, and her shape and size don't need advice, but she paints up that face to make sure that the blemish is high. So coffee and cigarettes, calorie news around her neck, dolling up for disrespect, 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 popping pills and posting pics, stressing on her waist and hips. Her body's right, the world is sick, world is sick, world is sick. Well, flower, flower, just growing free. All your petals, they look good to me. You're just the way that you should be. You're beautiful naturally. You're beautiful naturally. That's that piece. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Yeah.
We'll be tuning in the next time. This has been live from the cave. It'll be streaming for a couple of days, so we hope you check in with us. Thank every one of you guys, Damon, Leonard, Mel, Glenn, Raj, Keisha from the booth. We appreciate you guys. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you. Stay safe and be well.
We did it.
That's what's up. And next time, buy a drink after that beautiful speech.
Excuse me, lady. My name is Sean from the Roseland Shawns. And
Roseland Shawns.
All right, y'all.
All right, y'all.
Camped out at home for COVID?
Thanks, Damon.
Join us, Indie TV, where you will see the talk shows, movies, drama, action, and comedy. Be the first and see it first. Sign up now for free at Indie TV.